Welcome to Dro4Cars. My name is Dro and this is my channel. Today I'm going to talk about what's necessary to get a motorcycle license. I do know that getting a motorcycle license depends on too many factors, and today I'm going to show you what exercises you need to pass on the driving exam. I'm living in Bulgaria and I'm going to share with you what are the rules here, and they are pretty much the same as in other European Union countries, but it may vary. There are also similar driving exams for motorcycles in Russia. However, I would like everybody who is watching this video to write me a comment about where you come from and what are the driving exams for a motorcycle license in your country or state. Let's share the experience. Get subscribed to the channel, like the video, and let's get started. First of all, I would like to tell you that we have a lot of driving licenses and they are separated into different driving categories like IM, A, B, C, D, E, TKT and TTM. Briefly, I'm going to explain what each of these categories means. The category AM stands for 2 and 3-wheel scooters with max speed up to 45 km per hour, that's 28 miles per hour. This category is mostly known for scooters up to 50 cubic centimeters, and you can apply for it if you are 16 years old. If you have 16 years, you can also apply for category A1, which is the first subcategory of category A that goes for motorcycles. So the requirements for category A1 are you must be at least 16 years old and you can ride motorcycles up to 125 cubic centimeters and max power up to 11 kilowatts slash 50 horsepower, and the ratio power weight has to be up to 0.1 kilowatt per kilogram. If your wheel is to ride a 3-wheeled vehicle, its power must be up to 15 kilowatts equal to 20 horsepower. Category A2 requires at least 18 years to apply for it. If you get the driving exam, you can ride a motorcycle with max power up to 35 kilowatts, which is 47 horsepower. The ratio power weight must be up to 0.2 kilowatts per kilogram, as the doubled rear power does not exceed the net power of the engine. Sounds difficult because this is the wall, but if your motorcycle has A2 compatibility, very known versions in Europe, you are fine. Category A stands for all kinds of motorcycles and 3-wheeled vehicles with power over 35 kilowatts slash 47 horsepower. You can apply for this category if you are 24 years old or 20 years old and you have category A2 for at least 2 years and 21 years for 3-wheeled vehicles with max power up to 15 kilowatts. These are the categories for motorcycle license A1, A2 and A. Now very fast I am going to show you the other driving categories that we have. Category B is the most common category that allows you to ride all kinds of cars and light commercial vehicles like the panel van with max mass up to 3,500 kilograms and up to 8 passengers plus the driver. We usually call these commercial vehicles bus and plural buses. We do have category C with its subcategories that allow you to drive vehicles that max mass exceeds 3,500 kilograms and passenger vehicles up to 8 passengers plus the driver. There are also subcategories for different types of commercial vehicles and trucks. Category D is for vehicles that can transport over 8 passengers plus the driver. This means all kinds of coaches and buses. This category also has its subcategories. Category E is for trailers that max mass is over 750 kilograms. Category T is for wheeled tractors marked as category TKT, and do not get confused because they are tracked tractors that look like they have another category. However, under the category T are also and the tram trains. However, if you are interested to talk about the other categories, write me a comment below, I'll make another video. Let's get back to the motorcycles. Now it's time to show you what kind of exercise you need to pass to get permission for an appearance in front of an exam commission. So, you want to ride a motorcycle and you must have a license. If this is your very first driving category, you are going on a theoretical test based on driving law and driving rules. In my case, I already have a driving license for category B and I have to pass the driving exam with a motorcycle. We have driving schools, which is the only way to get any kind of a driving license. You are not allowed to drive anything older than a bicycle before the driving license for any of the categories. When you are registered at a driving school, then you are going to work with an instructor. The instructor is that person who explains to you what you have to know and also what kind of exercise you need to pass, as the instructor also showcases how to do all of these exercises and tells you all the mistakes you can make or you just did. When you start the driving preparation course for a motorcycle, you don't need anything other than your will. The instructor gives you all the equipment you need, like a helmet, protectors, and also the motorcycles. Yes, there are motorcycles and they are specially registered as learning vehicles. The very first thing you are going to learn is where is the clutch, the brakes, how to turn on and off the turn indicators or the blinkers, the lights, the horn, where is placed the shift lever, how to turn on the engine, and all of these basic construction characteristics of a motorcycle. Don't worry, it takes about 5 minutes and then you are going with the very first lesson, which is how to drive off and how to stop. As how to stop is one of the most and why not the most important thing to know about riding a motorcycles. If you don't have if you don't know how to stop the bike, then you are going to change your point of view very fast. You cannot imagine how fast you are going to change your point of view if you do not know how to stop the bike correctly. However, the basic drive off and stop could take you several lessons. The instructor wants to see that you are confident with these basic operations. I applied for category A and before that I have no experience with a real bike. I used to drive a 50 cubic centimeter scooter 1986 Honda POW, which is a very different type of vehicle than the real motorcycles. The driving preparation course for motorcycles includes three types of bikes: a 125 cubic centimeters, 400 or 500 cubic centimeters, and 650 cubic centimeters. Also, these bikes are examples for the different motorcycle categories, but in real life it's not so true because there are bikes with a higher engine volume but with reduced power to cover the lower motorcycle driving category, aka A2 compatibility. Anyway, I started with 125 cubic centimeters Yamaha YBR 125, and with these motorcycles I learned how to drive off and how to stop, how to work with the clutch, how to turn on the indicators, how to check out everything around me before any kind of maneuver that I have to do. When I get used to this type of motorcycles, then I went to exercise so-called elements. Usually when you get used to 125 cubic centimeters motorcycles, then you are going on a 400 or 500 cubic centimeters motorcycle, starting from the beginning, how to drive off and stop. Then you are going again with the elements, and when you get used to the 400 cubic centimeters motorcycle, you are going to start the whole course from the beginning with a 650 cubic centimeters motorcycle. In my case, I didn't drive the middle bike, which was a Honda, but I'm not sure about the model. So right after the Yamaha, I went on 650 cubic centimeters Kawasaki ER6N, also called Kawasaki Ninja 650. However, the instructor takes these decisions when and whether to move you on next bike depending on your skills. Now it's time to show you the elements. Just before that, get subscribed to the channel, like the video and share it. Thank you very much. The driving exam for motorcycle license has 5 elements. 3 of them are slow and 2 of them are fast. Let's see. Element 1. This is the way how the driving exam goes, starting with element 1, in which the rider has to overview the lights, turn indicator lights, handbrake light, foot brake light and the horn. After that, the rider has to turn off the engine and to push the motorcycle as following the line of figure 8. At the end of element 1, the rider has to park the bike between a spot surrounded by 4 cones. Then the rider gets on the bike and rides nice and slowly to the next element. Element 2. For this and all other elements, the rider has to drive the motorcycle. Every element has a start position and end position. When the riders drive off into the element, they are not allowed to stop or even to put a foot down. So element 2 is driving in first gear and following the line of figure 8 2 times. In the end, the rider has to stop on a certain position, on a certain spot. Element 3. This is the last slow element. It's slalom or so-called snake. This element has 2 stages. The rider has to drive between the cones, and after that he or she has to stop in the exact position to get the passenger. When the passenger is on the bike, the rider drives off, and in several meters there is a U-turn following by acceleration and shifting up to second gear. The rider has to stop on the position surrounded by 4 cones. Then the passenger has to get off the bike and the rider is going to the next element. Element 4. This is the very first fast element that includes slalom, a U-turn and acceleration. The point here is that you have a minimum speed. When I shot the video, I decided to put both bikes in the element because I do love this element. It looks like a dance. Having both bikes in the frame looks much better. During the exercises and on the exam, always there is only one bike on each element. Let's see. This exercise also starts and finishes on special marks, and it has a breaking point. The rider has to accelerate and shifting up into second gear, then enters the slalom with a minimum speed that the rider must keep of at least 30 kilometers per hour, that's 90 miles per hour. After the slalom, the rider slows down and makes a U-turn, then accelerates fast up to third gear. Before the breaking point, the speed has to be at least 50 km per hour or 31 miles per hour. When the rider is on the breaking point, he or she needs to use both hand and foot brakes. After that, the rider gets into a zone where it's necessary to avoid an obstacle and to stop at the finish mark. This covers element 4. Element 5. This is the easiest element. Here the rider accelerates up to third gear very fast and he or she has to do an emergency stop. You also have a breaking point on which your speed has to be at least 50 km per hour, which is 31 miles per hour, and you have to stop within a special zone using both hand and foot brakes. Now you can write me a comment about which of these 5 elements do you like most. Thank you. Please don't ask what happens if you do not start and stop the elements on the marks. I do think that you have second attempt, but actually I don't know. It's always better to do all of these elements on the first attempt, and that's why you have a special driving course for a motorcycle. This is the first part of the motorcycle license exam, as the next part includes city driving. You're getting the commands by radio, and the instructor is driving behind you with the driving examiner, who gives you the commands that you must follow. Choosing direction on your wheel is not a word. The city driving is about 30-40 minutes when you have to showcase our driving skills during different situations. If it happens that you drop the bike at any stage of the exam, then the exam is over and you have to attend once again for a motorcycle license. If you switch off the engine when drive off, you have a point penalty. If you do not stop correctly on stop sign, the exam is over and there is many more mistakes to be made, but don't do that. Why there are so many things to do uh, before getting a motorcycle license? I do appreciate all of these exercises because first, if anything happens with your bike, you should know how to push the bike. I won't command that you have to check out your lights regularly on any kind of vehicle that you are driving. Second, which is about the element 2, where you learn how to balance the bike at slow speed. Making a figure 8 with a motorcycle, you have to balance the bike with your body. At the higher speeds, the bike is stable due to the centrifugal forces that wheels create. Third, about element 3, that improves your skill from figure 8, where you have to change the direction of the bike, and here you have to do it very fast and sharply at slow speed. After that, you have to stop for a passenger. Then that element goes with balancing the motorcycle with a passenger on it and making a U-turn, following by acceleration and stop on a final mark where the passenger gets off the motorcycle. Fourth, about element 4, this element improves your skills when driving at high speeds and changing the direction fast. This exercise also requires to work with your body. The second part of the element includes fast acceleration, and you have to know how to slow down fast and to avoid an obstacle. These elements also learn you to use both the hand and foot brakes and the clutch. Fifth, about element 5, is all about an emergency stop. Here you learn how to use both brakes for an emergency stop. There is something very important about driving motorcycles, and it's that you are always learning how to drive them. I want to know what kind of exercise you need to pass before getting a motorcycle license. Do you have a driving course for a motorcycle license? Actually, how the whole process for a motorcycle license goes in your country or state. Write me a comment below about where you come from and how do you apply for a motorcycle license in your country or state. I'm looking forward to hearing from you. Thank you very much. By the way, if you have videos about driving exercise for a motorcycle license, you can try to leave a link in the comments below, but I'm not sure that this is going to work. However, if you have such videos about this topic, you can contact me via email, and then I might create another video with the most interesting exercises around the world. Get subscribed to the channel, like the video, and share it. Thank you for choosing the Dro4Cars. I'll see you in the next video.